This video is going to help you name molecular compounds. All right, so these are a little different. The word molecular is in there. So remember that molecular can be synonymous with covalent compounds. And covalent compounds are between two nonmetals. To name these molecular compounds, we're going to use page 228 of your textbook. And you're going to look at these prefixes, and yes, you will have to memorize them. But they should look somewhat familiar because most of them are the names of the polygons in math class. Most of them. And you can go down and see some that are a little bit different. Tetra, and, di, there's not a diagon. Alright, so we're going to use these prefixes. And we're going to have just a few rules. And the first rule is that the word never begins with mono. Even if there's one, so for instance in CO right here, we know that there's one carbon, but we're not going to start with the prefix mono. Instead, we're just going to say the name. So this very first one is carbon, and it is attached with an oxygen, and we can see that there is only one oxygen. So we're going to say monoxide. So carbon monoxide. Now at first, when you're a beginner, you might write mono and then oxide. Well, this certainly is not carbon monoxide. Okay, this is not carbon monoxide. Instead, common practice is to drop one of these vowels, and then you get the word that's very familiar to you, carbon monoxide. So let me refresh. We don't use mono at the beginning. We don't use mono at the beginning, even though there's only one here, but we do use mono for the second. Let's look at this next example. You're very familiar with this one also. This one also begins with carbon. So again, we do not use mono to begin with. And now we have two oxygens, so we look up the prefix for two, which you probably already know this. So we have carbon, and it's dioxide. So I would say for now, let your ear help you with when you should drop a vowel. You obviously never heard of anyone say carbon monoxide, so you would consider dropping that O. But on dioxide, that sounds very familiar to you, so keep the two vowels together. Let's look at the last example. On this one, we have 4 phosphorus, so we look up 4, and we see that we need to use the prefix tetra. Now you do begin a word with tetra, so we're going to put tetra, phosphorus, and now we need the prefix for 10, that'd be deca, and so in this one we do drop the A, decoxide. Now if you put the A in there by mistake, I'm not going to count off. I want you to do the best you can to just let your ear do the listening. Notice again that all of these end in IDE. So let's remember, even in covalent compounds, they end in IDE. Alright, so it's time for practice again. So this worksheet is found on Edmodo, and I would like you to do all of the problems. You can use the chart in the book on page 228 if you need to. That would be good practice, but eventually you need to get all of those prefixes into your brain.